I've expected you. Welcome to part 2. Please watch part 1 if you haven't, because there's a lot of explanations there that are pretty important. And here's your warning. In this video I'll talk about a few instances of stalking, and if that's something that's unmanageable for you, just don't watch this video. There are many other great videos you can watch around here. And just like in the last video, in this video I will be playing at least one clip of someone I talk about who speaks German, but I've subtitled everything. You just need to activate the subtitles in the video settings. Both English and German should be available. Now we can get into it. First thing I want to talk about here is the YouTube Haus. Haus is just the German word for house. There. So what is the YouTube Haus? The YouTube Haus was a group of German YouTubers who somehow managed to move into the same apartment building in Köln, aka Cologne. And yes, I will be saying Köln because the YouTube Haus was a normal apartment building somewhere in Köln, which at any given time between 2014 and 2018 housed somewhere from 2 to 7 well-known YouTubers at a time. But there were also non-YouTube people living there. Keep that in mind. So just very roughly to give you a picture of the YouTubers living there, I'll be speedrunning through our dear tenants. And there were some more people involved, but those I mention now are the most important for what I want to talk about. And just to keep this even shorter, basically all of these people did Let's Plays, and sometimes vlogs and some other content, but mostly Let's Plays. In the beginning of 2014, Dena and Unge, both with over 300,000 subscribers at the time, moved into the apartment building into separate apartments. Shortly thereafter, two more YouTubers, Tadl, also over 300,000 subscribers, and Adi, at least over 200,000 subscribers, moved into an apartment together. Towards the end of 2014, Paluten, also with over 300,000 subscribers, and Revinside, with over 400,000 subscribers, moved into an apartment together. And by the end of 2014, Dena, Unge and Tadl reached 1 million subscribers, and throughout 2015, Paluten and Revinside also reached 1 million subscribers. Many of these people got a massive subscriber boost out of what seems nowhere. My personal theory is that the YouTube Haus itself helped them immensely for pretty obvious reasons, but also projects going on at the time surely contributed to that. They lived together, filmed together, played together and attended events together. These fine young men probably moved into this house because they thought it could be fun, because it would be nice to be together as content creators and help each other out. And while I'm strongly assuming that's true, you're probably wondering, where does the stalking come in? This is 2014, 2015 we're talking about. While the US scene of YouTube had already developed a proper baseline and YouTube was an established thing, in Germany, it was just the beginning. While there may have been an understanding of what can happen to a big YouTuber from the YouTuber's perspective via US-based YouTubers, from the viewer perspective there was no understanding of stalking and harassment because of the parasocial nature of the videos. At the time, the word parasocial wasn't a thing in Germany. You see, I mentioned they did vlogs, right? Unge had an entire channel dedicated to vlogs. Dena did regular vlogs, Paluten did irregular vlogs, and most of the people I just introduced were some of the first big YouTubers in Germany. Part of the first generation, if you will. Because they made so many vlogs and the consequences that could bring with it wasn't known at the time, they would regularly film the inside of the apartment building, like the stairs, areas around the building, and just in general how they walk and drive around the city, which at a certain point allowed people to basically build together a map of areas shown and connect the dots to where the building was, which caused so-called fans to share the exact address of the building their favorite content creators lived in, and probably encouraged each other to go visit it. Because invading your idol's privacy sounds like a great idea. Not. Just a short list of some things that happened to the people living in that building. People ringing the doorbell and asking for autographs, pictures, other stuff. People waiting in the area around the building until people come out. People seeing YouTubers outside and following them back. People trying to get into the building. People getting into the building and putting up tents in the stairwell. And there were rumors that people would give tours from the Kölner Hauptbahnhof, the Cologne Central Station, to the building for money, which sounds so ridiculous, But kinda knowing about more stuff that happened that time, I can't even say it sounds unrealistic. On that putting up tents in the stairway point. There was a comedy trio named Ape Crime who also lived in Köln, but in a different building. They collabed here and there with the people from the YouTube house, and they also had fans get into their building and put up tents by the stairs, but they didn't see this happening because these people were removed soon after. And keep in mind, they were the only YouTubers in that building. I already couldn't believe this happened once, but twice? That's ridiculous in a very bad way. To get back to the YouTube house, after that started to kind of split up towards the end of 2016, 5 YouTubers, 3 who lived in the house, Dana, Revi and Paluten, and 2 from the outside, Izzy and Sturmwaffel, decided to get an office space for them. Everyone got a room, they had a shared room, and could basically use it as a studio. They called it the UFO, which stands for Ultra Fettes Office, which is a bit hard to translate because fettes literally means fat, but in German it's used to say that something is super cool or very big. Now, at the time they moved in, the 3 YouTube house people, Dana, Revi and Paluten, already had over 1 million subscribers. But Izzy and Sturmwaffel both reached 1 million subscribers within 3 months of them having the office. And honestly, the videos and moments that came out of that are still some of my favorites. But obviously, the UFO wouldn't be on this list if it didn't turn sour. People quickly figured out where the building was, and through the videos it was probably easy to figure out which floor they are on exactly. I'll just let Sturmwaffel explain a few instances of what happened from a video where he explained why many of them were leaving this office in mid-2018.
Aber gewisse Sachen, so wenn man vor der Tür steht oder so, ja, das ist halt einfach uncool, aber keine Ahnung, das sind ja so die kleinsten Dinge, die so abgehen. Also wirklich kontinuierlich beleidigt zu werden, damit man so provoziert wird oder getriggert, so, was halt so merkwürdig ist, weil die Leute dann so dein Merch anhaben oder so. Oder hier nachts einzubrechen oder dass an Feiertagen ein Bus vorgefahren kommt, aus dem Familien aussteigen und sich dann beschweren, dass man nicht nach unten kommt, weil die ihren freien Tag dafür opfern, vor fremder Leute Tür zu stehen, von Eltern beleidigt zu werden.
I just want to point out again how ridiculous this is. I can't understand these people. Some random people were like, yeah, let's get a bus to the office where these people my kids like work, even though the address was never made publicly available by them, and then be absolute cabbage heads to them when they say no. I'm just speechless at the entitlement and stupidity. I'll surely be saying this at least one more time, but stalking is never the fault of the one being stalked, public figure or not, but always the fault of the stalker. The only thing you have to do to not stalk someone is to not decide to stalk them. The last example I have here is Kelly missesvlog. She's a German vlogger and comedy YouTuber, and everything I'm saying here in regards to things that happened to her, she has all explained in a video of her own that's linked in the description. I'm just translating and recounting the information. She was living on the top floor of her building in a really cool apartment, which she absolutely loved. Unfortunately, without fully thinking about it, in her room to afford that apartment, she filmed out her windows. Now is the time to give you the information that in Köln there's a pretty famous building, the Kölner Dom. This thing. Because of where her apartment was located, the fact that there was footage from inside her apartment filming outside, and the fact that her apartment seemed to be located slightly higher than most buildings, and the Kölner Dom was visible, it was possible to count the buildings between the dome and her window, and through that find out where exactly her apartment building was. Many of her fans also informed her of that they knew where her apartment was, that it was easy to find out. Which is absolutely terrifying to even imagine. Alas, because people knew where she was living, people also quickly found out what the exact address was. And shared it online. Like the disgusting people some humans are. But because of inexperience and her love for that apartment, she stayed put. Even though she got letters, packages without returning addresses, even though she got gifts and flowers randomly sent to her, and even though letters and emails she got showed clear signs that the people sending them had some kind of mental health issue, She had people threaten her safety. She had people saying they would go to her apartment and talk to her to improve a relationship that didn't exist. She thought it would just go away at some point, that it would calm down and stop. One man got into the building and sat in front of her apartment door and refused to leave. He had to be removed out of the building by 7 policemen. Which, by the way, not fun fact, would not have been possible if she had opened him the main door of the building herself, because German laws are weird. And while at some point she did go to the police legally can also just do so much. Which is very, very unfortunate, as we already know dozens of cases of public figures and hundreds of general stalking cases. It seems no matter where it happens, the police can barely do anything unless there's physical harm involved. But where I'm trying to get with this is, if you do real-life content, please don't film out your windows, and if you do and it's anything recognizable, blur it, for your safety. While this obviously doesn't happen to everyone, I think it is important to be aware of it. I didn't mention all of this to discourage people from making IRL content. I mentioned it solely for awareness and to kind of show how these things partially happened. Because what often caused the severity of this is that the area around or the direct location of the place where they were living was easily findable for some people who then shared the information further. I do think there are safe ways to make IRL content, like not showing the area around where you live. And again, stalking is never the fault of the one being stalked. On a personal note, while I wouldn't say that knowing about these instances has influenced me majorly to be a PNG tuber, I also wouldn't say it didn't have anything to do with it, if that makes any sense. But regardless of if you show your face or not, if you do IRL content or not, just be safe, kids. Well, these videos escalated a bit. I actually started working on this video before I did the whole rebrand-ish thing, and I honestly have no idea anymore what my first intent with this video was. It just is what it is, I guess. I don't think I fully did everything I mentioned justice, mostly because I tried to keep it short, but the way I made this video is also a test. And I do think I need to do more things I'm not fully comfortable with to get better in general. So that's where I'm at now. Just trying to throw the hesitation and doubts out the window. Unfortunately, they don't always fit through the window. Some days they do, though. If anyone has some suggestions or just general ideas for improving my content, you can write me a little comment down in the comments and I'll consider it. Anyway, thanks for staying through this chaos. Next video will be better, and enjoy the rest of your day or your night. Pet your pet from me if they allow, please. Go find a cool rock in the grate outside and drink water. Thank you for watching until the next video, and with this I released into the depths of the universe once again. See ya!